After an Israeli airstrike targeted a car in Al-Maghazi in central Gaza, it left 3 people dead. A paramedic in Gaza realized one of his casualties he had been trying to treat was his own mother. Around 10 minutes earlier, he brought her into the hospital thinking she was any other patient. Scenes of tragedy like this have become a familiar sight in Gaza, where according to the Gaza Ministry of Health, more than 43,000 people have died since the war began. And I'm Landon Pats. We're glad you're with us. You may have seen some groggy faces around campus this morning as students in Greek life battled their way through all-night pomp. Kendall May Stark was out there last night to capture all of the action. Cowboy football had a rough trip to Eugene, with Oregon dominating all 4 quarters, winning 69-3. Yikes. Zane Flores had his first career start, and the Pokes had their largest losing deficit since 1907. The same year Oklahoma became a state. Mike Gundy gave his thoughts on what went wrong. The negative spiral of Cowboy baseball continues after a tough midweek loss to Missouri State. With the score of 8-10, the Pokes now dropped to 12-14 on the season, when having 5 losses to mid-major teams. The Bats were alive for the Cowboys, with Alex Conover, Colin Ritchie, and Bo Sylvester having a pair of RBIs. But on the mound is where they struggled, with 5 of 6 pitchers to take the rubber, giving up runs. It doesn't get much easier from here, as OSU now heads back to Stillwater to take on K-State this weekend, with hopes to win their first Big 12 series of the year. Welcome back to the Daily-O, and welcome into the Sports Corner. I'm Landon Pats. Thanks for joining in. Over the weekend, Cowboy football suffered a tough loss against Tulsa. A blackout Friday night game in BPS left fans disappointed. Preston Hudlow was there on the field with insight on the result. Meanwhile, both Cowboy and Cowgirl golf had successful wins over the weekend. Starting with the Cowboys, who earned their first win of the season at the Fighting Illini Invitational. After entering the final round in third, 10 shots behind first place Florida, the Pokes finished 6 under, clinched the win by 2, and were led by Ethan Fang, who tied for second individually. Moving over to the Cowgirls, as they were in Norman for the Schooner Fall Classic, where they headed into the final round 16 under par, led by Ellie Bushnell's second round, which was the third lowest in school history. They would finish with a 7-stroke victory over TCU, going 18 under par for the duration of the tournament. For individuals, Grace Kilcrease tied for third, being one of 5 to go under par in all 3 rounds. Both the Cowboys and Cowgirls are back in action in early October.